You're watching Formosa News. I'm Kenneth Lee. Welcome to the program. People's anger at President Mindich has grown dramatically, according to polls taken by local media. Most of the polls put Ma's disapproval rating at between 55 and 65%. Harsh criticism has been leveled by both opponents and former supporters, as many believe the Ma administration did too little too late to handle the disaster wrought by Typhoon Morakot.
Many are dissatisfied with President Ma's performance in the wake of Typhoon Morakot. Even retired servicemen living in military communities, normally strong KMT supporters, are shaking their heads. President Ma is not qualified. We, the ROC, have no one else, so we sought him. I'm not only disappointed, I'm extremely disappointed, said this former serviceman. The opposition Taiwan Solidarity Union said a survey conducted over the past 3 days found that 62% of respondents were unhappy with the president's performance, with approval ratings for Premier Liu Zhaoxuan faring even worse. The problem was he did not get hold of information as soon as the disaster occurred, and he did not mobilize the military to enter the disaster area. He simply watched media reports to handle disaster relief, said TSU Chairman Huang Kunhui. According to United Daily News, President Ma's approval rating has fallen to below 29%, a decline of 37% since being elected. A China Times survey said the president's disapproval rating has risen 24% to hit a new high of 55%. A TVBS survey found that 65% of respondents to its poll were dissatisfied with Ma's performance, also setting a new record. Regardless of which media was conducting the poll, it is clear that Ma is getting a stern wake-up call.
Taiwan's Southern Link Railway has badly damaged during Typhoon Morakot and may not resume service until the end of the year. That means if you want to get from Kaohsiung to Taidong by train, you'll have to go through Taipei in the north. But the Southern Link Highway, which connects Pingtung County to Taidong, may be cleared as early as next Tuesday.
Taiwan Railway South Link not only saw its track bed erode away, but the track ruptured in several areas. It may be impossible to fix these problems quickly, and people wanting to return to their hometown of Taidong by train may first have to travel from Kaohsiung northward to Taipei before heading south again, instead of cutting across the southern part of the island. Today I plan on going to Taidong. Without Taiwan Railway's Southern Link line, it will be difficult. Still, there's no other way. Even though it's difficult, I still must go home, this Taidong resident said. The trip from Kaohsiung to Taidong used to cost 364 NT dollars and take 3 hours. Because the Southern Link Railway line has been disrupted, many now have to take the Western line, traveling north to Taipei before heading back south to Taidong. This trip not only cost 1,600 NT dollars, more than 4 times the previous price, it also takes 10 hours, which is much like it was traveling between these two places back in the 1980s. There is hope, however, that road transportation across the southern part of Taiwan will soon improve. The Southern Link Highway could be open as early as Tuesday, providing temporary coach connections for passengers. That may be the only public transportation option for a while, because the Southern Link Railway line will require major repairs and is not expected to resume service until the end of the year.
And now let's take a look at some other Taiwan news stories for this Thursday.
Mortgages on houses that were destroyed in Typhoon Morakot will not have to be repaid. That was the consensus reached by the Financial Supervisory Commission and Taiwan's Bankers Association Wednesday, and will apply only to homes actually lived in by the borrowers. If damaged homes that have mortgages can be repaired, repayment of the principal will be deferred for 5 years, and the interest payments will be deferred for 6 months. Banks are expected to lose a total of 1 billion NT dollars because of the policy. The Bureau of National Health Insurance announced Thursday that victims of Typhoon Morakot will not have to pay their portions of their health insurance premiums from now until the end of the year. If they're still unable to pay their premiums at the beginning of next year, they'll be able to apply for interest-free loans from the Bureau's Relief Fund. To ease the financial burden of disaster victims, the Ministry of Finance will allow them to apply for exemptions from paying income tax or rents on national lands. The ministry also plans to sell a 40% stake in Land Bank of Taiwan to raise an estimated 40 billion NT dollars in funds for disaster area reconstruction.
Former Vice President Kenneth Lee and Taichung Mayor Jason Hu both suggested on Thursday that the government postpone the year-end local elections. Belonging to opposing parties, the two believe that delaying the elections will allow counties devastated by Typhoon Morakot to focus on much-needed reconstruction efforts rather than be embroiled in politics.
Flooding and landslides triggered by Typhoon Morakot from August 7 to 9 have battered many parts of central and southern Taiwan. Former Vice President Kenneth Lee urged the central government to delay the elections so that local governments can be fully focused on disaster relief and recovery operations. Holding the quickly approaching elections might distract cities and counties that are trying to get back on their feet. Election campaigns might degenerate into a war of words, which I don't think would be good for the disaster victims or the rebuilding of our home, Lee said. Though he's from a different party, Taichung Mayor Jason Hu agreed with Lee. The elections in the typhoon-stricken counties of Taidong, Pingdong, Jiayi, and Nantou are all scheduled to take place in early December. Lee and Hu may represent different political parties, but they hope recovery efforts will take priority over the election of new county chiefs. However, Taiwan's two main parties, the ruling Kuomintang and opposition Democratic Progressive Party, have not given any indication they're planning for a postponement of the December polls.
The economic impact of Typhoon Morakot is just starting to be figured, with agricultural losses already exceeding 13 billion NT dollars. But despite the damage, the Directorate General of Budget Accounting and Statistics remained relatively upbeat on the economy Thursday, announcing a small upward adjustment of second quarter GDP, as well as maintaining its estimate for growth in 2010 at over 3%.
Many believe that Typhoon Morakot will negatively affect Taiwan's economy, but the Directorate General of Budget Accounting and Statistics has published data that is not as pessimistic. For the full year, we expect negative growth of 4.04%, which is better than May's negative 4.25% forecast. As for 2010, we expect full-year growth to be 3.92%, said DGBAS Minister Shi Su-mei. The DGBAS said that excluding typhoon damage, full-year GDP growth would be negative 3.8%. It acknowledged that the economy has been impacted by the disaster, with agricultural losses in excess of 13 billion NT dollars, and the tourism industry being dealt a severe blow. But it said reconstruction efforts would stimulate domestic demand. The disaster has led to rising commodity prices. Agricultural losses will lead to food prices going higher, and this will affect consumption. Therefore, we continue to predict second-half growth of 1.14%, said DGBAS Minister Shi Su-mei. The DGBAS remained optimistic that the impact of the global financial crisis on Taiwan's economy bottomed out in the first quarter, with the second quarter seeing a turnaround from negative growth.
The Taipei-Neihu-Muzha MRT line will be shut down Friday night and over the weekend so that the city can check and repair the system that has suffered repeated breakdowns since opening on July 4th. But Taipei Mayor Hao Longbing rejected speculation that the city would abandon the new Neihu line and restore the Muzha line control system.
The new MRT line will be closed Friday night at 10 p.m. and reopen Monday morning so that the city can thoroughly check the system. As of Thursday, however, there were no announcements of the pending shutdown anywhere in the busy Zhongshan Fuxing station. At the same time, Mayor Hao apologized again for the problems the system has faced. The person who should most apologize to Taipei residents is me, because I've had people ride an MRT system in which they don't feel safe or secure. This is where we've really let down the people of Taipei, Hao said. Mayor Hao said he was ashamed over the system's constant glitches. With the Death Olympics scheduled to start September 5th, he indicated that the city was planning for the worst-case scenario, which would be to dump the Neihu line. Bombardier hopes that a final evaluation is made a week before the Death Olympic begins. Only if there is no other choice will we consider closing down the MRT line temporarily and restore the Muzha line system. In the end, our Muzha Neihu line will be one system, and it will be Bombardier's system, the mayor said. Hall insisted that the Neihu line, or the idea of integrating the Neihu and Muzha lines, would not be abandoned. But he left the door open for an alternative if the system could not be fixed before the Death Olympics.
A tanker owned by a subsidiary of Formosa Plastics collided with a cargo ship in the Strait of Malacca Tuesday and caught fire. Of the 25 crew members, 16 have been rescued, while the remaining crewmen, all Chinese nationals, are still missing. The oil tanker, which was carrying 58,000 tons of naphtha for a U.S. trading firm, has been towed into Port Dickson in Malaysia.
The tanker, the MT Formosa product Brick, caught fire and listed toward the left after being hit by a British-registered cargo ship. Following the accident, 14 crew members immediately fled the burning vessel in a lifeboat, and they and 2 others were rescued soon after. Among them were 2 Taiwanese nationals. When the accident happened, 14 crew members got away from the burning ship in a lifeboat and were rescued after being spotted by a passing cargo ship. We also found 2 other crew members in the sea and rescued them as well, said a Malaysian police spokesman. The 9 missing crew members, all Chinese nationals, have yet to be found. The accident occurred in the Strait of Malacca in waters off Port Dickson, Malaysia. Malaysian authorities immediately sent a naval vessel and helicopter to mount a rescue operation. The tanker was then towed into Port Dickson. Formosa Petrochemical, the oil refining unit of Formosa Plastics, said the tanker's cargo that was destined for South Korean customers was secure. The company added that compensation issues in determining who was responsible for the accident will be handled by insurers.
And that's today's Formosa News. Thanks for joining us. We'd leave you with some U.S. Major League Baseball actions from this week. I'm Ken Lee. I'll see you again soon.
Grand slam! You can put it on the footprint on the run, sliding catch.
Diving stop at second.
Climb that ladder.
Man, oh man.
Off balance throw to first. Pretty scoop on the backhand by Teixeira.
I got it!
Rosales dives and he does not catch it.
Hey, that had some crazy spin on it.
I can't look away. Jabba pumped up.
What a show he has put on.